Congress to play, Senator.
Senator Durbin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Justice Department is currently defending the Trump administration in a number of lawsuits challenging executive actions taken by the president and officials of the administration. Federal judges, both Republican and Democratic appointees, have enjoined some of these actions, holding they are illegal or unconstitutional. Alarmingly, President Trump, his allies, and even some nominees before the committee have responded by questioning whether the executive branch must follow court orders. If confirmed, the three of you will hold key positions at the Justice Department, and you will take an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution. So I'm going to ask a question which could merit a yes or no answer, and I hope it will. Do you believe, I'll ask each of you, do you believe a litigant, including the executive branch or president, can lawfully defy a court order? Mr. Shoemate. You want to turn down?
Sorry. Thank you for the question. I will always advise a client, whether in private practice or in government, to comply with court orders. And if our client disagrees with the court order, we can appeal, seek a stay. And I think that's exactly what I've heard the president say: comply with court orders and appeal if we disagree with them.
Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Ranking Member Durbin. Yes, I would say parties to litigation should always follow lawful orders that bind them.
Mr. Eisenberg.
I agree with both of my colleagues.
Thank you. Mr. Eisenberg, earlier this week we learned about a shocking security breach in which the Defense Secretary Hegseth and other cabinet officials discussed highly sensitive military plans over a commercial messaging app known as Signal. Classified and otherwise highly sensitive national security information must be handled in accordance with strict security protocol, including the use of secure facilities and communication channel. Willful or negligent disclosure of mishandling of such information is a criminal violation of the Espionage Act. Do you agree that the Justice Department must thoroughly and impartially investigate this breach, and if criminal violations have occurred, that the department must fairly and impartially prosecute those responsible?
I agree that the department should take whatever appropriate action there is. I don't know enough about what actually happened to say what that action would be.
I'm asking whether you believe it should be investigated by the Justice Department.
In my view, it depends on the facts. Like, if the facts are completely different than has been reported, I don't know what the facts actually are, and I wouldn't want to opine on that until I knew what they were.
Mr. Shoemate, last year you participated in a Federalist Society panel discussion about the president's ability to remove heads of independent agencies. Do you recall that?
Yes, I do, Senator.
During that discussion, you argued that, quote, nearly all modern independent agencies are unconstitutional because of protections dictating that agency heads can only be removed for cause. Do you remember that position?
Yes, Senator.
You appear to suggest that a host of independent agencies should be subject to the whims of the White House, despite Congress's constitutional authority to create these bipartisan independent commissions. So do you stand by your argument that removal protections render independent agencies unconstitutional?
Thank you for the question, Senator. As I recall, I was appearing as a lawyer at a law firm who currently had a case before the courts where I was taking a position arguing that removal protections for a certain agency were unconstitutional, and I was appearing advocating for the courts to rule in my favor in that case and advocating for my client's position. Now in my role at the Department of Justice, I represent the interests of the United States. There is pending litigation regarding removal protections and whether those restrictions are constitutional. So I wouldn't want to go beyond what the department has already said in those cases, Senator.
The view you expressed last year directly contradicts the Supreme Court's decision in Humphrey's Executor, a 90-year-old precedent holding that removal protections for independent agency heads are constitutional. In February, the Trump administration informed me that it will seek to have this precedent overturned. Did you participate in any conversations with any Justice Department or White House official about this plan to overturn Humphrey's Executor?
Senator, in my role as the acting head of the Civil Division, I had many conversations with many folks within the government about many topics, but I don't think it'd be appropriate for me to discuss who I spoke with or what advice I gave on any particular matter to protect the deliberative process and to encourage individuals across the government to reach out to the civil division and seek our advice on particular matters without fear that those conversations will be disclosed
But
publicly.
I didn't ask you that. I didn't ask you who you spoke with or what you said. I asked if you participated in conversations about this case being overturned.
Senator, I don't think it'd be appropriate for me to disclose what matters I advised on at the department. I advised on many matters. I want to encourage folks throughout the government to reach out to the civil division to solicit our opinions without fear that those conversations will be disclosed.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask one other question?
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask Mr. Shumate, last night the president was asked as to whether or not the rioters on January 6 should be compensated. That's a matter that would fall in the jurisdiction, I believe, of your responsibility in the civil section. Do you think the January 6 rioters should be compensated?
Senator, I'm not familiar with those comments that the president may or may not have made last night. We have many pending cases in the civil division, including tort suits. It wouldn't be appropriate for me to commit to any particular resolution of any of those cases without talking to other folks within the department.
Well, I come down on the side of the law enforcement officials that keep you and me safe and your family as well at this moment, who were attacked by these rioters, and I do not believe they are entitled to any compensation for their action. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks to the three of